So we'll call the meeting to order at 7:03. Why don't we say the pledge and then we'll take a look at the agenda. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So before we begin, I would like to welcome Arifa. Arifa, would you please tell me exactly how I should pronounce your last name so I'm correct, please?
Pronounce correct. Arifa.
And your last name?
Kushki.
Kushki, thank you. So Arifa Kushki, our head of circulation, and let me make sure I get the correct terminology here. Is it executive department head? Okay, great. So thank you for joining us tonight, Arifa. I would like to make a motion that we add a non-public session to our agenda under RSA 91A3:2, personnel.
I'll second.
Thank you, Karen. Is there any discussion?
Just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you repeat the number?
Sure. RSA 91-A, and then it's :3:2. All in favor? Okay, thank you. So we will have a non-public at the end of this agenda. So the first thing we have is old business. For June's action items, we were to set up a meeting with SMP Architecture, which we did. That meeting just took place on July 16th. The second item was that I was to get in touch with Ann Warner for strategic planning. I reached out to Ann again, and she had replied to my earlier message, and it must have just gotten lost in the shuffle. So she and I are going to hopefully speak early next week, and then I can learn a little bit more about the strategic planning process with her organization and invite her to our next meeting. So my apologies, that fell through the cracks for me, that message. Janet, send out municipal association videos.
I did.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if anybody had a chance to take a look at that, but I did notice there were a few that I thought might be interesting, and I was going to suggest maybe I was going to look at the one, I think it was about governing responsibilities, one of the first ones that,
Yeah.
So, if people want to take a look at some of those, it's always a good refresher. And, if we have questions or any items for discussion, I think that's good for us to do. So thank you, Janet. The next item is also for Janet. Withdraw amount to make $10,000 from fines savings to fines checking.
Done.
Thank you. And we were also going to read the fines memo for the July meeting. So that hopefully everybody had a chance to take a look at that. We can discuss that now if people would like to. So any thoughts on our the memo about going fines free? Arifa, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, sure. If you just look at the proposal I had, I was just searching a lot. I found lots of supporting things from ALA website. I just asking on GMAX libraries, and I saw some of them just right now are fine free, like Amherst Library. They started from, I guess, June 1st. So, and also as a person who is working at CERC, I see if we can do that, it's really huge help to our patron and residents. Right now, we do have people coming and they do have a fine from 2014 on their account. Even they don't remember what was that. And then they are bringing item to check out, and then they figure out they do have a fine. It's like $6. And we have to tell, sorry, you cannot check out the items as long as it's over $5. And just they return it and they go, Sometimes they try to find something on their pockets, but most of the time they said, okay, we will back. But usually, sometimes I keep track, but I see they do not back. And I see this is something that is really help to patrons, just let them come back to the library, If we can do that, would be great. I know there are other different things from different aspects, like financial part. But I was looking at the statistic, look at the financial, and I saw we do not make a huge,
Mm-hmm.
we do not collect fines, honestly, lots of fines from this. But still, if they just damaged item, if they lose item, they have to pay, it's not like.
Right.
And also with this, we are like trying to let them know, still you are responsible, you need to return it. We try to help them with auto renewal that we just turned it on recently. So this is like peace of mind for them. Do not be worried if they are just get charged. But again, this is something else that I really like trustees, director to make a decision if this is something that, if you see it's beneficial for the community, we really like to go with that.
Thank you.
But also, I'm happy to hear from you. What do you think,
Mm-hmm. Does anyone have any thoughts about the proposal? Questions?
Well, I thought about it, and my only concern, really, I see that being beneficial for
Turn your microphone
Oh, yeah.
on.
being beneficial for the community is really what the library is all about. So, and I've seen people in the library when I've been there that have said, oh, I owe you 50 cents, or, I mean, it's so ingrained into their perception of what the library is about that you have to get the things back on time or you have to pay. And it's shameful if you don't. And I think they learned it right through school that was the kind of thing that the library was. However, it's way offset by the opportunity of being able to go in and get anything you want to read, and as long as you're conscious and return it properly, it doesn't cost you anything. It's wonderful. And so in modern day, I see that the amounts of money would actually affect people who are less affluent in the community, people that aren't going to be able to come up with a $5 or $6 fine in their pocket, especially since nobody carries cash anymore. So, or I guess they could charge it because we do that, I think. But it seems to me that as long as it wouldn't be a financial detriment to the library, if it would be enough of a problem not to get that money for fines, that we would have to maybe tighten our belts or something. I don't know. It seems to me that being beneficial to the community would be the overriding, more important thing to consider.
And I think with auto renewal, we probably would be getting less in fines anyways, regardless, because with auto renewal, things will just automatically get renewed for quite a while. What is your take, Jan? Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Did you want to say something? Okay.
No, I'm okay.
Go ahead.
You can go.
All right. What's the, is there a limit on auto renewal? Like how long can someone hold on to something?
We auto renewal 2 times every time for 2 weeks if there is nobody waiting for the item.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that along with what you said, Karen, about the financial burden, I also think it's an inconvenience. So if somebody just shows up and they don't have the money, and, it's not that they maybe couldn't pay it, but they couldn't right then, and then they'd have to leave. So I, as someone who acquires quite a bit of fines or have in the past. Janet, did you want to say something?
We actually do get a lot from fines. So from in 2016 to 17 was just over 19,000. Then 17 to 18 was a little over 16,000, and then 16,000. And then last year, even with 3/4 of a year, we got 11,000. So it's not that this would be a hit. It just means that we have to find the money someplace else. So, because this stuff is museum passes, it's materials, it's all the replacements, but again, the replacements would be paid for. So this fines also covers what the copier doesn't cover. So if the copier is not making enough to cover itself, fines covers the copier, because that's that same pot of money. So again, it's I guess like I'd like to see how the removing the fines from the kids goes as a start. I understand that they can't be responsible, and it usually falls on the parent to bring in their stuff. So,
Oh, are you thinking that it would be children's materials or children's cards?
children's materials,
Okay.
because even my kids' stuff, that still fell on my card. So even though they had their own card, personally, I'd like to see where that goes first. And
Okay, go ahead.
Did we talk about removing some hours or something from the library's operation?
No, we talked
before?
about adding.
Oh, adding. Okay. I was going to say, might balance itself.
Oh, those are two. That comes from municipal money, and fine money goes to materials. So it's different what we can use it for. Yvette, did you want to say something?
Well, when the department heads and I have talked about this, we would like to go fine free across the board. Replacing a damaged or lost item is different. I think, when we start talking about fines for late items, then we start thinking about shame. And this is like a carrot and stick situation where it's all sticks. We are punishing people for not returning things on time, and I don't think it's equitable either. Someone who's maybe more organized can keep their things, when they return things, they know when things are due, and someone who has a different kind of life or a different kind of operation or operating is, they're at a disadvantage. And I don't think we want to have any message associated with the library that's inequitable or setting people already at a disadvantage. I've worked in libraries where we've had fines, and I've worked in libraries where we haven't had fines. The thing about the fine money, in my opinion, is if I almost wish the RSA was written, if you happen to collect fines, you can spend it on XYZ. Not, they can be spent on XYZ, because sometimes we think, oh, great, now we have a pot of money. And, I've said a zillion times now, we're not in the business to make money. If we happen to, collect fines, then the responsible thing is to, spend it in this way and that way and this way. But we have other resources. We can talk to the friends. Do you want to sponsor some of these museum passes? We can increase our municipal budget and say, well, we're going to lean on that resource rather than hitting people. I think it's hard, like, when you have a bank fee, that doesn't help me when I have a bank fee. It's the same in my mind. But I'm also children's librarian at heart, and it's really hard when kids are getting the message or teenagers are getting the message that there's a restriction here. That's maybe it's beyond their control.
I wonder
So-
if there's some sort of compromise that we could even say that we're doing it as a pilot program for 6 months. I mean, I know we've done it through COVID, so we haven't reinstated them necessarily, but people do still have fines on their card. So I wonder if it's getting rid of the fines that are there and doing a 6 month. I think it might be confusing to people if some of their materials are accruing fines and others are not. And then we're also penalizing people who are not using children's materials, but might really benefit from not paying fines. I don't know, would you be willing to do a 6 month trial period and then we could see what it looks like or something like that?
It's a board vote.
I know, but but you had said that you would be more comfortable with the children's materials. So I'm wondering if this is sort of a way to look at it and say, and not to announce we are going completely fine free, but say that we're running this pilot program and that we'll look at it and see what.
Well, we've been fines free for over a year.
Mm-hmm. This would also involve getting rid of all the fines that are there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that also assumes that you've gotten the materials back. So that's.
I think that those are two different things. So one would be like it would be considered a lost material, wouldn't it? And then you could do fines. I don't know, or if you would just clear them as people came up to.
Well, we've had the discussion at GMILKs on the board level because everyone is facing the same question. I mean, the smaller libraries that aren't part of GMILKs are also looking at, are we going to reinstate fines or are we going to just let them go away, and not have that practice anymore? And what GMILKs, the board is recommending is as the patron comes up, then erase those fines. If there's anything that's lost or damaged, that's a different conversation. But to do it one at a time as we go. Because there's a different cost involved with having, and I'm trying to remember which company, I'm not sure which company, but I didn't bring those GMILKs notes about, one of the other libraries decided to wipe all of the records at once, and it was a cost of $1,000 that the board voted to pay out of reserve funds. So they said, okay, moving forward, just do it just have your staff do it, and it'll get done a little bit at a time, and then we won't have this other random cost.
Would there still be an option for someone like me who knows I owe, say, $1.20, or who says, oh, I know these were late, here's a few dollars? Like, would we still be doing that?
When I worked at the Durham Public Library, they didn't have fines. They had a ceramic pig on the desk that was called the Guilty Pig. And if people felt like throwing something to fines randomly, of course, that's a different pot of money.
Special.
Sure, but we
can use special for the same things we could pay for.
You can use special for the same things. But, and this was happening while I was working at Durham. They collected more funds from the Guilty Pig than they had in actual policy fines. So anecdotally, that's, I mean, we'd have to decide what our mascot is that we're going to put.
I think, in my personal opinion, I think it's worth trying. I think we're trying to be more inclusive. We're trying to be sensitive to people's concerns and their needs and make it as open as possible for people. But Mike, what did you want to say?
I believe we have quite a large budget, and the loss of the fines would just be a temporary thing. We would eventually go back to being able to provide everything we can now.
Well, it would be that money would be gone each year. So we buy them.
But it would eventually replace itself in some other way.
Yeah. Well, it would depend if we did something like that or
you add it to the budget. We say, okay, museum passes is what, $6,000, and we add it to the budget.
And of course, it's going to pass.
Well, we always try. We also try to be very, we try to be very conservative and mindful when we develop our budget, and the trustees do try to pay for what we can. out of trustee funds, whether that's fines or special, to offset as much as we can to do our part for the
Yeah, but
town.
6,000 out of how much? When they read that on to vote on it, or however it's approved, they're not going to know the difference really.
But we will. So we try to be consistent, and I think that's just something that we've tried to do. But go ahead.
But a couple of years ago, we took like $45,000 out of savings to do the roof, and that was fines money. Mm-hmm. So adding that to the budget, first of all, it was a capital reserve, so that would have, Paul would have been like, And last year we did 12,000 for computers out of fines. So there have been instances along the way where there has been a larger chunk, not just 6,000.
So how much in fines do we have put away right now?
I can tell you.
Excuse me, Janet, just question. When you gave us a number for the fines, it's just the column in the spreadsheet, it says fine, or it's really overdue? Because fines, it's just, it includes different things like replacement, ILL fee, which are usually, they are more than the overdue. We need to just count the overdue, not the fines, the total. I want to be sure,
That's what you see when you look at whatever you're looking at? Oh, you see all of it?
No, I mean, the number you gave us, it's just the fines or just the overdue?
Oh, no, this is just fines. It's just fines.
So there might be some, I think,
not the replacement.
Right,
No,
so that there might, so that the actual amount that we collect for
I know what you're talking
overdues
about.
might be less than the number that we see.
Yes.
Good point.
It is, they are combined, but there's all of like $400 for replacements. So when you see the total of fines, $400 from that would be replacements.
Mm-hmm.
So
We shouldn't count them, I mean, when we are looking, because when I look at the numbers, it was like, I didn't put them right down together to bring it here, but I wish I could do that. But it's like, the fines part is most of the fees are like replacement, and then the overdue is like maybe a month is just $15 overdue. A month is just maybe, I don't know, $32 just for a month for overdue that we collected from patrons. But the fines column is around 400 because it's include the replacement, ILL fee.
ILL fee would be still considered a fine.
I know, yes.
But I understand what you're saying. It's the, you would have to look in classes.
I can just take them out and let you know exactly for example, on 2018, how many overdue fines that right now we are talking about removing that, not replacement, not,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm thinking those are the big number on the fines account, not the overdue that we are talking. But this is good. I can just put them together and just let you know. It was just 500 on their fines, but just 52 was just overdue.
I personally don't know what the difference is when you say that.
Because when we are talking about removing the fines, it's like just overdue. We are talking about removing overdue fines, not the old fines, because still they have to pay the replacement that they do already, because when you said 11,000 on 2018, they said it doesn't honestly, it's too much for the just overdue.
Mm-hmm.
I really like to go, and see it's just overdue, not the replacement fees.
No, I see what you're saying. No, that's fines. It's fines, replacement, and ILL. But
okay, we shouldn't count them.
Yeah, is there a way to just see
absolutely.
what overdue is?
Even I can.
I think it's just interesting to know, but I still think either
but
way.
replacement is still maybe $200, and the only you put in the information for replace, or you highlight.
Yes.
So when the deposit goes in, I can classify it as replacement.
Yes.
So if that isn't done, which is possible back in like 2016, 17, that might not have been done, but at least probably 18, 19, 19, 20, that's definitely been identified. So I was looking up something.
I think it would be wonderful if we could just do it as a pilot. And I think if people know it's a pilot, because then we are giving ourselves the option to really look at it and see, okay, is this the direction we want to continue to go? We can get rid of those fines that were from pre-COVID that are just there. We can take a look at it. We can see if the guilty pig or whoever the mascot is like offsets some of it. But I do feel for people, because even I know what they're going to say, something that I still owe money. I don't have any cash with me. There's just that feeling when you walk up. It would be nice if people didn't have that.
But Deb, what would you like us to track, so that in 6 months the board can look at
I think
track?
We're gonna look at what the bottom line is for fines. We can see what if there are additional money that's being collected, just to get an idea of that. If people are making donations, which they don't have to, that's just if that is something. Maybe we can take a look at. Comparing last year, last year will be off again. Right. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that change is hard, and that to do it as a pilot also gives us the opportunity to say, that we did that with COVID, but maybe not. And just to see. It'll be the end of the year from now till, January 1st, and we'll look at it again at the December meeting. I think that's, in my opinion, that's a fair way to try it out and see and get people's fines cleared up. And I don't know.
Yeah, so you do have a willing to just clear all the fines from their account. I guess this is a big step and the first step. And so it's like newborn. So everything is clean, nice. So go ahead and show yourself.
Well, yeah, and to be fair to people too, I know that during that time in the last year and a half, this was not a priority for people, right? So to be able to just come in and for the staff to be like, oh, we've not been collecting fines. We're going to run a pilot. We're going to, start from scratch, and I don't know. I just think it would be a positive way to welcome people back who are just getting out and doing things. And we can look at it again in December and see, okay, is this something we want to continue with, or are there real concerns about how this will impact the library, or is this going to be something that then we need to address in the future if we want to offset the loss of fines? Okay, then I'm going to make a motion that we run a pilot and go fine free from now until December, and we will look at it again at our December meeting to evaluate whether the pilot will become a permanent program or whether we will go back to our former way of doing things. And I would like to include in that motion that fines be forgiven when people come up to the desk.
So what's your closing date? If you want to meet and talk about it at your December meeting.
Why don't we say that we go till the end of the year? So we will talk about it at the December meeting, and then we can make a change officially January 1st.
Okay.
Do I have a second? Karen, do you want me to repeat my motion?
Yes. Run a fine-free pilot until December.
Ending January 1st, which will be reevaluated at our December meeting.
Until January 1st. Which okay. In December. Okay.
And that
including forgiving
past fines.
I do have a question, Deb. Still, I'm a little confused because right now we are fine free. Not, in general,
Right.
But right now, still we are fine free. How we can figure out until December? It's a little.
Well, I just think that we're forgiving those fines too,
Okay, yeah,
right?
this is
so
the big, yes.
we're starting.
Okay.
We're kind of clearing everybody out,
Okay.
and I think we want to look at the financials and just see. I'm just trying to come up with a middle ground where we can. I know we've been trying it, but
Well, I think we could go back to the library and sit down with Jen Stover in tech, and Max, in adult services, and kind of say, okay, what are we going to track? Because we could track, this is the amount we erase, this is the amount we forgive, and then with a combination of auto renewal, can we track, well, this was auto renewed or this was returned, 2 days after a due date?
Right. Would we have even been collecting
Yes,
that
we
much?
can.
Yes.
like
Yes,
Okay.
we can do that. Yes.
Okay.
I think any data you have
Yes.
would help. So if you could come up with something that would be a meaningful way to track it, that would certainly be
Yeah, it's
helpful.
easy to just run to see the overdue items to just see.
We can run a lot of
Yes.
reports.
Yeah. Yes.
And if
Oh,
we-
data and
Yes, I
statistics.
know.
You're welcome.
And-
You're
and
welcome,
if
Yvette.
if it doesn't exist, then we can ask the GMilk staff, can you make this report? Because I want to know this question, and they will.
Well, and I think with auto renewal being introduced, it will be interesting to see how much would we have actually collected, and that might be a driving force in deciding whether it's something we're going to do or not, too.
Well, there's a couple things going on there though. Because of the auto renewal, it, in a sense, you have 4 extra weeks to return it.
Yeah.
So right there, the odds are fines wouldn't have occurred.
Right.
And now, like your example,
For some people.
okay, for some people, the 2 days after, now that they're being forgiven, you would at least be able to say, okay, well, this was 2 days later, so whatever it would have been, you'd be able to see what that is too. So it's not going to be apples to apples in terms of past years because
Right.
of now the auto renewal, but at least with the auto renewal, if someone were late after that, what would have been our fines? So that's
Yeah, I think it would be great to have some sort of tracking just to see. And I understand that we've been fine free, but I think the forgiving of the fines would just be
Yeah.
an extra thing. And the introduction of the mascot, whatever you decide it should be. I'll let your creativity run wild. So RFAU, not Yvette.
She's very
Creative also.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, okay, so the motion that I have proposed is, again, to run a fine-free pilot through January 1st, which would be evaluated at our December meeting and would include the forgiving of past fines as patrons come to the circulation desk.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Karen. Is there any further discussion? Okay.
I just a comment, an aside that I think it will be less confusing for patrons this way because this will be easier to let them know that we're evaluating it, that it's a possibility that fines may come back, but they may not. But things aren't changing yet.
Yes, they're
So I think-
continuing with the way things
Yeah.
are going, and we're forgiving this, and we will be evaluating it again. So.
So you want to just forgive the fine for people who show up at the desk?
I think that's part of, if we're going fine free, then we're going
Okay.
fine free. That's in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm open to further discussion if people.
I know we haven't voted on it, but will that amount also be tracked?
Yeah, we can track easily. Yeah, because we put
Yeah.
every penny.
Yeah, so we can just see what we ended up. Okay. All right, we'll take a vote. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, so 3-1. Did you have something you wanted to say about it? So
I just support going fine free. I think it's
completely? Okay. without the pilot.
unnecessary to reevaluate it.
Okay, that's fair. Change is hard, like I said, so we're going to take steps in a direction. So, okay, great. So copier is that was a lot for June action items, but we're making progress. So copier is a placeholder, strategic planning. As I mentioned, I'll be speaking with Ann Warner in the next week or so, and so hopefully we will have her at one of our upcoming meetings to move forward with that. So under new business, we have policies. The first one that we have, or the only one actually now, is the circulation policy. So I don't know if people had a chance to take a look at the circulation policy.
Yeah.
I just have a question about the copier.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't discussed it.
It's just there as a placeholder. It's something that has
Got
come
it.
up that we want to take a look at. Are we doing
Okay.
the right thing with the copier?
Okay.
The way it is. So it's there, so we don't forget it.
Okay.
So. Okay, circulation policy. Are there any questions, thoughts, or concerns about the circulation policy? I had one, so.
I had a couple too.
Okay. So mine was under returning materials. It said that interlibrary loans must be returned to the Merrimack Public Library in the book drop located on the library property. Does it have to be returned to the book drop?
I had that too.
They can't bring it into the library?
No. It means they do not drop it at a fire station book drop because we empty that one once a week, but this one is empty 2 times per day. I mean, we can add it, not drop on the fire station book drop. Just if you want to just drop it, you can just bring it in or put in the drop box in the property.
I think that would just be clearer because when I read
Okay.
it, I was like, oh, do my, and because of COVID and how things have changed with how you were collecting materials, I was like, oh, is that a thing now that we have to put interlibrary loan in there? So I was just checking. So if you could just clarify that they can bring it in or place it in the Merrimack Public Library book drop
Sure.
on that property, that would be great.
Which page are you on?
It
4.
was- Yeah, it was under 5, returning materials,
Yeah, it's
So we can just be
under borrowing privileges and
must be returned
responsibilities.
to the Merrimack Public Library or library in the book drop in the property. I mean.
inside or.
I think it just can say must be returned to the
Inside.
Merrimack Public Library because I mean, they have to bring it into that
Yeah,
location.
inside
right?
or Dropbox. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Janet, did you have a couple of questions?
Yeah, same page, but it's under, actually, it's just right above 2, self-checkout. It says items are circulation from a specified period. It's under the E.
Oh, circulated
ED.
And then,
or circulate.
That's even better.
Yeah.
and page 4, number, or, yeah, 7A, right in the middle of the paragraph, cardholders will be required to refund, oh, you know what? It's fine. When I read it, I was like, what is she talking about there? Saying it out loud makes much more sense. So now with the fines free, I have highlighted the $10. Will that change?
And also, we need to remove page 4, number 6, overdue materials, because we are not just going to just, that
Right.
Yeah.
that number needs to be
That's-
removed.
Right.
Well, we can also add, like some of our policies during COVID, we had a little kind of amendment or addendum
Yep.
saying, this is suspended. This is, so we can keep it there and then add something that says this is suspended from this date to this date.
I really liked the addition that the teens with their student ID can get a library card. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Um, on the last page, under renewals in Appendix C, there's just a space in the library of things is library of things. I just noticed that when we were. So
The only other thing that I noticed is more of a formatting that the, like it went from like 1 semicolon to an A semicolon, or not semicolon, parentheses, and then under 2.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So for under residents, it's like A, B, and then non-residents, it goes C, D, which it should actually restart as A, B.
Yeah.
That's just it kind of auto fills that in for you.
And then,
Oh, yeah.
and then even as you go for, now it went to A dot, A
Yep.
period. Just again, formatting things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We-
Yes.
Well, mine, I don't know if yours looks like this, but mine is all,
Number.
no, it's all gray. Like
Oh.
everything is in a box.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
Yeah, mine is the same.
is yours like?
Yes.
Well, I printed it off for you. So.
No, I printed it myself. No.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
so
Oh.
there's lots of little
Mhm.
things
Yeah.
that we'll comb through it.
Okay.
It's very thorough. It seemed to catch everything.
So would anyone like to make a motion that we approve it with the changes and that you will take care of the formatting kind of thing? So
I make a motion to accept the circulation policy with changes.
I will second it. Any discussion about the policy? Okay, all in favor? 4-0. Thank you. It is very thorough. And again, I really liked that one about the teens. So if someone is there, you have your student ID, you can get a card. Perfect.
Yeah, I was just thinking we need to just specify it, you know?
Yeah, totally. And it seems very detail oriented, but when you are in that situation and you have a person with a specific question for their scenario, it's nice to have that for the circulation staff. So thank you. Okay, open POs. Was there any questions for Yvette on the open POs or anything you'd like to bring to our attention, Yvette?
Well, this is all, it's the year-end spending connected with the open POs, kind of connected with that June.
It's in flux.
Huh?
It's in flux.
It's in flux. So that's the June general ledger, which didn't change a lot from Friday, but.
By the way, I sent the materials that Tom Boland requested about open POs from last year. Do you recall that? And
Yeah.
he, the minutes had everything he needed. And
Okay, good.
He was happy.
Great, thank you. One of the things that I included in your packets that has to do with the open POs is the carpet quote, because that's one of the things that was on the year-end spending. So we have two quotes. One is from Godek and one is from Atkinson, and one of the vendors recommend we test what looks like tile underneath the carpet for asbestos. So that's another thing.
Is that the quote that includes moving the furniture and being specific about a couple of days? There was a quote that was, I can't remember because there were, I found like three quotes.
There were two, but one had some additional backup.
Is this the one you were looking for, the Atkinson one? Was that the one you were thinking of?
I can tell you. I think the Atkinson, yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking of. I didn't print it off.
They supplied references.
Yes, they supplied the references. That is the one I was thinking of. Because then the quote, I don't know, they just seemed the most professional to present. But that doesn't necessarily mean.
Will they conduct the moisture tests and the testing of the tile for asbestos, or would that be something we'd have to get a different contractor to do?
I would need to ask someone in the town who they recommend.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
I would think that the town would know somebody, given the
Yeah,
ages of the
Yeah.
buildings.
And that just seems like we should do that. Like, that seems like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do you have any concerns or strong feelings about either or a direction you'd like to head with one of the vendors?
Oh, yeah. We like Atkinson.
Okay. And it looks like they've done a lot of libraries also.
That's the one I like too.
Okay.
It seemed very thorough too, with everything that they listed out.
Okay.
Sure, I can.
Well, and I do think that, I mean, it just makes sense. You want to test for moisture before you're putting down new surface. It behooves, if we're going to pull this up, is there asbestos there that would need to be addressed? I mean, that just makes sense. So, okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept the Atkinson proposal for carpet and I guess carpet installation. What else do we need on it?
The total, the cost.
The total being $41,280.
I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor? 4-0, and just keep us posted with what the town recommends for getting that tested. So,
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions on the POs or year-end spending?
So for the wages, will there be a balance at the end of the fiscal year? Balance remaining?
At the end of next fiscal year, or at the
Well,
end,
this,
the one that just ended June 30th?
yeah. So this is what's left over, right?
Well, the board voted to reallocate
Okay.
to different lines,
Okay.
so.
So the open POs that she sent us that say like the 40,000 for carpet and then 700 for the what are they, the file drawers and all these things that she's written up on the open PO, that was money that we allocated from last month. She got told from the finance director, looking at how much you guys spend, it's looking like you're going to have around this much money in excess. How do you want to allocate that? And we allocated it to doing carpet, some furniture.
Now, is this usually about the same amount every year,
No,
roughly?
no. Some years it's since I've been on the board, I think one year we had like 20,000. And then some years we've had more than that. So it ranges. A lot of it it comes from wage lines. That's where the majority of it comes. So it depends on staff turnover or if staff stays or if we need to get a new person, whatever happens with staff, if they get sick and they can't be there. So that's where the majority of our excess of money comes in, is staff lines.
Huh. All right.
You want to add to that?
No, you're exactly right.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, June 2021 general ledger and invoice manifest. So we have,
Well, we don't have the invoice.
right, we have the general ledger. So, I'm sorry, did you have a question, Karen?
Did we vote on the carpet?
Yep, and it passed 4-0. Okay. Any questions about the general ledger? Okay. All right, trustees budget.
And I added that to the agenda that I draft agenda I'd sent to Deb because I don't remember your timeline for that. So if you have it, if you don't have
I don't.
Okay.
I did start looking at it, not to throw this, but my computer died. I had to get a new computer. And I took like a week to just not even, I buried my head in the sand because I have nothing. And we tried all these different little things trying to find it. I'm like, but I've gone back through all my emails where things have sent, and I've done like all of 2016. So I'm working. But I did start to look at the budget. It's still going to be, actually, the one thing that I wanted to just point out, and Karen brought it up in one of the minutes, I think it was from the retreat, is that 4,000 is going to come out as special, which is all trust money. We're going to have 4,000 of trust money. So And then there's an additional 8 from fines. That's library of things and museum passes. So that's where we stand. But next month I will absolutely have it, and I will have the all the classes as well, like what's remaining in DCU, even replacements. I can't think of all the classes, but that'll be all visually appealing.
Thank you. Isn't that terrifying? We're so reliant on our devices that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So.
Actually, the only thing that's been good is I have stuff I've played with, but things that were important, I've always sent out. So I've had other little things, but those were just, like I said, little play things.
So you can recreate.
I can recreate a lot.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Okay. So the director's report.
Okay. I have a couple of additions up top. We received a copy of a CD entitled Miss Julianne, Therapeutic Songs for Kids, valued at $10. This was a gift for the children's collection from Julianne Hartley of Miss Julianne and Mr. Joey, who performed at our summer reading kickoff concert on June 23rd. Would you like to vote to accept this donation?
I'll make a motion that we accept the CD Miss Julianne Therapeutic Song for Kids.
I'll second.
Thank you, Janet. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you.
Okay. This is an addition. I won a raffle. I tend to win raffles. I won a raffle for the New Hampshire School Library Media Association conference. And so they sent me 2 YA books. I don't really remember the titles of them, but I gave them to Kathy. So to just add them to the collection or get to use them for some reading prizes. So technically it's a donation, and I wanted to make sure you could accept that also.
Would you describe that one more time? Did you? Oh.
I will make a motion that we accept the 2 books that Yvette Kauser donated to the library.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you, Yvette.
Sure. I used to win raffle baskets with puppets. Donate those.
I thought you were going to say puppies at first, and I was like, oh, okay.
Sorry, man. Okay. Moving on. So the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA update, we received a check for $3,895. You will need to vote to accept these funds. A legal notice was printed in the Union Leader following the grant requirements. And I have the narrative, because this was very brief, but I have the narrative of what is included in the grant in terms of the launch pads and the Meeting Owl Pro, and the rationale in terms of the narrative.
Excellent.
Why we're purchasing this. The nice thing about the launch pad devices are they're not connected to the internet. So if someone does not have internet access at home, they can check this out and just work on the device. And it's, STEAM learning games, there's some brain games, English as a second language, test prep. So there's a lot of things that we got excited about. Mm-hmm. And, you can, anywhere that doesn't have internet, you could take it in the car or something like that. So that was one of the areas of serving those in your community that would really benefit from something like this. And then the Meeting Owl Pro is a device that's a microphone, camera, and speaker all in one. It's plug and play. You don't have to download any drivers. And if we're going to be continuing hybrid meetings or hybrid programming, this will allow someone who's attending remotely to have an experience as if, with the quality as if they were really present. So the camera focuses on the speaker that's in the room, and Hooksett Library has one, and they've been using it for their staff meetings when it was hybrid. And the Jaffrey Library also has been using one, and they both said they were easy to use and really worked well. So,
Great.
you know, what we're hoping to do is kind of keep some things hybrid, and this would satisfy that.
Well, this is wonderful. Thank you for working through
Yeah.
this process and getting this grant. So I will make a motion that we accept the ARPA grant for $3,895.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? I'm sure I should say, is there any discussion about this wonderful grant? Okay, all in favor?
Oh, wait,
Oh,
actually,
please.
I do have
Okay.
one thing. Where is it? There it is. So exactly, that's what I wanted. So just to point out that the bottom line is slightly over than the grant, and it'll be paid for out of special.
Yeah.
So why
and-
don't we do
or-
that separately? Why don't we vote to accept the money and then we can vote to disperse it like this with and then give the difference?
And that was
So-
really the guideline from the state library saying you have to whatever we've budgeted for you, because they received a certain amount of money and divided it up to each library in New Hampshire. And they said if you've received this much, you have to ask for this much. So if you have to go a little bit over in the actual things you're buying, go a little bit over, because we can't ask for under.
Mhm.
So that was
Sure.
why.
So why don't we vote to accept the so the motion is to accept the grant first. So okay, so all in
Who's
favor?
second? Who's
Mike did?
Mike, I'm sorry.
Okay, all in favor? And then I think we should vote to accept how this grant will be spent and that the balance will come out of special. So according to this information, this will be used to purchase 6 children's math, story, and science devices, 5 ACT and SAT test prep devices, 5 ESL devices, 2 adult brain game devices, and a Meeting Owl Pro for a total of $3,978.82. And the balance will be paid, the $83.82 will be paid for by the Merrimack Public Library from our special account.
A second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you. This is wonderful.
This was great.
Really great. And this I think is really helpful to see, like for us to see and for us to have sort of a record of, yes, this is how this grant money is spent. It's in the public record now. I think this is really great. So
Yeah,
thank you.
And there are specific ways to report, which you'll see at the bottom.
Mhm.
One thing that maybe as a caveat is since many libraries in New Hampshire are purchasing these launch pads, if we can't get the exact thing, we're just going to still get something that's in this vein.
Understood. It says devices.
That's our
so
intent.
that's, yep.
Okay.
So, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and we read it as devices. And if I understand, I know that, there's when schools were all buying Chromebooks, like there was a backlog, like
Exactly,
it
yeah.
happens in
Yeah.
waves like that. So I think if this is going to be able to provide the same functionality to our patrons, that's what
Yeah.
the intent is. So,
Okay, good. Thank you.
sure.
And plus, you do have until, September?
2022.
Next year.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Good.
You're welcome.
Oh, no, I'm just putting my stack.
Okay.
I mean, I highlighted a couple of things. I don't know if there's other things that you will ask about, but under maintenance, let's see what I said.
Oh, you know what, Yvette? As I'm reading this,
Yeah.
it occurs to me that without having Jared here, we did not say anything
Nope.
about his staff recognition. So I'd like to, when I see his name here under your maintenance report, I do want to just take a moment to apologize for that and say that I would like to recognize Jared for his 5 years of service to the public library. And we are very grateful and sorry he couldn't join us here. And it is really obvious to us all of the things that he does to make the library a better place.
Oh,
so
yes.
we
Yeah.
really, really appreciate that. So I'm sorry I didn't address that right away.
Well, I will pass along your appreciation.
Sincere thanks. Really, it's obvious the
It
way
is
the
obvious.
library looks. So we appreciate it very much. Okay, sorry to just.
Well, do you have anything on the maintenance list? Because Joanne writes up the report in the bulleted list, but if there's
Maintenance
anything,
list.
on the list that you wanted
I would
to
say I
ask
was,
about.
of course, concerned about the AC because I think that's just it's going to be an ongoing thing.
Yep.
The AC is a problem.
Mhm.
But on the positives, I was so happy to pull up to the library at 2:52 the other day and see that it was open, that I didn't have to sit in my car for 8 minutes. So I'm very grateful that 2 to 3 hour you're open. Also, the granite sign looks fantastic, and the reference desk is
Oh, I love
perfect.
the reference desk.
It looks wonderful. So really nicely done. It looks great.
Well, I covered reference last night, and I sat behind the reference desk, which I hadn't done yet, and I was like, oh my goodness.
No, it looks so
much
professional,
nicer.
so welcoming. It really
Yes.
fits right in. It looks great. So
It's
really great.
really a nice workspace. It's really fantastic.
And they don't look crowded.
No.
They really, even though they're behind there, even if there's 3 people behind there,
Yeah.
they don't look crowded.
No, it's
And
it's
and
really
they're
nice.
they're not, because that's one of the staff members was saying that there's so much room
It's
that
well
people
designed.
can move around. It's just they love
great.
it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Is there anything we can do with respect to the air conditioner?
Once we find out more in terms of the diagnostics from the vendor, I'll come back to you and let you know what they find out. But there was one tech present saying, well, I think it should be this way. And it's like, okay, well, let's find out more.
And is this air compressor or the AC unit attached to like the heating unit, or are they 2 separate
Oh,
entities?
as I was told, as it was told to me, this is a system that you should be able to turn on and off and be heat,
Oh,
and then the same stuff runs through the same pipes and it's cold.
that's right.
Our office
Yeah,
is fun. You never know what it's going to be.
right.
And it is an ongoing problem. And, the most recent tech we had come in says, well, we need to look at this other thing and run another test. So we're still gathering some information.
Okay.
And I did make a note to myself, and I saw that you mentioned on your report House Bill 544, and I really appreciated Max's report. Max's report. I thought, I even put a star next to the biggest thing that's unclear is what's actually going to be a violation of this law. Like, I think it's really great that we are being kept up to date. So I just wanted to say I appreciated receiving that so I could take a look at it. So. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Yvette about her report?
I actually have a question that the library insight, that's museum passes, right? Is it?
Well,
I know, that's what I saw. I just saw it.
Now.
Yes,
Has it been replaced?
not yet. I'm just searching and asking demos.
Okay.
So from 5 different platform, we just came to 2 right now. So I'm asking just demo from them. They send lots of information, but still we are sharing with department heads, with the director to just make a team decision. So we are just going to just see it from different parts, from patron side, from staff side, from financial part, But we are working, so probably we can just select it by the end of August.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, one of the concerns that ARFA is looking at is which system integrates well with Polaris. And so that's
Yes,
something. One platform we know that GMLX libraries are already using, because if they were using Library Insight, they also are moving to a different vendor. So that's something that we have to take into consideration.
I think this is good.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Okay. Close that one. All right. You know what? Of course. questions? Ever any questions? So I sent out, at least end of the year, by the month, how fines and special money came in. It's usually just an FYI to everybody because I can see it and you guys don't look at the financials like I do. So, but for the balance fines, this is as of June 30th, 2021. Fines started with $5,713.07. And then it ended with $5,079.96. To answer Mike's question, let me see if it's on this one. Balance. Oh, no, it's not going to show it. Actually, okay, as of June 30th, the balance for the fines savings account is $55,655.69. That was to answer Mike's question from earlier. Then special started with $22,723.82 and then ended with $28,832.83. I have a couple, actually I just have two things about it, is I moved $4,200 from fines savings to fines checking to bring up the checking to $10,000. That will show up next month because I wanted more things to clear at the end of June before I moved money. And then that's all that money. Oh, and then there's, I'd like to move $228.94 from special to fines. 100 of that is the garden club donation. This is really just paying back fines. Yvette was ahead of the donation, so it came out of fines and it usually would have come out of special. Mm-hmm. So we're essentially just paying fines back. And then the $128.49 was a copier expense that got taken out of special, and it should have been out of fines. And again, we're really just in reimbursing fines. Okay. So it ends up being $228.94. So
I will make a motion that Janet move $228.94 from specials to fines. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Yes, I have to do.
I'm in favor. Is anyone else in favor of doing that? Okay. Mike? Abstain. Okay. So 401.
No, 301.
Oh, 301. I'm sorry. Thank you. Just getting that 5. Yes, Karen.
Karen.
Janet.
Yes. Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at what you said was the beginning and ending of the balance sheet as of June 30th for special.
For special, okay.
So it began 22/7/23/82.
Correct.
What did it end?
Keep going down to the end of the page.
Yeah.
Maybe you might even need to turn the page.
Keep going. Yeah.
28/8/32/83.
Got it. It's all the way down.
Yeah.
It was busy.
It was busy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And the donation from ARPA is on here if you wanted to see it. There's also, and I have a question, there's 2 New Hampshire Humanity events that occurred. I saw that there was one, usually there's a grant that's associated with it. Yeah. I was just wondering if one had the grant and one didn't, or...
We have 3.
You have 3.
And sometimes depending on when the event has been scheduled, we'll pay the speaker and then get the grant after it. But Max and I are tracking those.
Excellent.
So that was the only thing.
No problem. Spending breakdown. Nope, I did that. Okay.
Okay, great. Any questions
it.
for Janet?
Oh, I do have one more thing.
Okay.
So I sent out, and
Oh,
then
the
I tried
mutual
to
funds?
print the mutual funds, and it's mainly, I'm more interested in the Watson account because I really want to get that invested, as opposed to the other one that I was talking about. So I would like the Watson account to be moved to the Fidelity Balanced Fund. It has a 5-star rating, it has high returns, it has low expenses, it's a 4 on the risk scale. It has 25% that's in bonds, and then there's 67 that's in equities, but it's in very stable companies. The growth is just very linear. It's just a very slight rise, so it doesn't have very high peaks or very high, very low dips. And I just think this is it's a conservative fund, but yet has growth, and as opposed to a CD. So,
And how much would that be?
it is. Oh, it would be 30,224. I think
Okay.
that's what it is.
So you'd like a motion to move that?
So it's already sitting in Fidelity.
So you just want to move it to the
I
Fidelity?
just want to
invest in
essentially buy it,
the Fidelity Balanced
buy
Fund.
it, yep, with the Watson money.
Okay.
And we can evaluate this at any time.
Sure.
If
Right,
all of
unlike
a
a
sudden the
CD where
stock
you have
market
to-
dies,
Mhm.
you could, I mean, we would all be crushed, I know, but yeah, we would all be in a panic, but we can evaluate it, we can look at it. That's the thing with a fund.
Yeah.
If 3 months from now,
Right.
it's really not moving like we want, we can move it, as opposed to a CD that
Right,
we're
CD
stuck
you're
in.
locked into. So before we make a motion about that, does anyone have any questions for Janet or any discussion about that?
That's good.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Would you like to make a motion then, Janet?
I would like to move the Watson account money, $30,224, to the Fidelity Balanced Fund.
I'll second that. Is there any further comments or questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that time it is 4-0, so I got that one right. Okay, thank you, Janet. Thank you for doing the research and looking into that.
All right, I have one more thing about it.
Okay.
So, about, oh my goodness, over a year ago, we took out money that was invested in the fines Fidelity account and the special account. We took out essentially what I want to say. We kept the gain, we took out what we had invested. So the gains are still in their respective, one's the NASDAQ fund and one is the S&P 500 fund. No, blue chip fund. What is sitting in the money market is essentially our money, is like the original money. I would like to put that in the Fidelity Value Fund. It's a mid-cap value. It's, again, it's the same rating as, actually it's a little better rating than what's currently invested. It's non-restricted. Neither one of these is restricted money, and it's, instead of sitting in the money market, we could grow it.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions for Janet about
I think
that
one of them is around 7,000 and the other one is around 8,000.
So it'll be approximately $15,000.
Well, it's two different
Okay.
funds, so it's, you know what, I can pull it up.
So the special and then the fines one?
Right, so it's, I think it's 7,000 in fines and 8,000 in special
And you would buy the
Fidelity Value Fund.
Does anyone have any questions for Janet about that? So basically just taking it from the money market, and investing this in
Exactly.
the Fidelity Value Fund with the same stipulation that we
Exactly.
could change it.
We can
could
change
look at
it. Yep.
Okay.
And this is another thing that I'll put on the account for next month is so we're in the blue chip growth. Since we've been invested in it, it's up 87%.
Trust me, I know, because I see this whenever I open my Fidelity account and I always go, oh gosh, okay.
So that's one. So it's $7,002
Yeah.
out of fines. And then the other one is, this one's harder. It would be around 8,000.
Okay.
And that one, this one's special is in the NASDAQ, and that one's up 82%. So
what is your motive? I'm sorry. So I guess I'm confused. I thought you were moving them from money market to the value fund.
yes, we are.
Okay.
It's there's 8,000 in the Fidelity money market, special money market
Okay.
that I want to put into
Okay.
the the value fund.
Okay. So do you want to make a motion?
Sure. So I'd like to make a motion to move the $7,000 in the Fidelity fines money market to the Fidelity value fund.
Okay. I will second that motion. Is there any discussion about that move? Okay. All in favor? 400. Thank you.
And then I would like to move the $8,000 that's in the special money market account to the Fidelity value fund.
Okay. I will second that. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Thank you. 400. I know that we are not a money-making enterprise, but it would be interesting to see how much this money has grown. To see,
Well,
you know,
exactly.
that would be really great.
Well, it's at least with this special, I mean, this is one of those things that it's almost doubled.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
So,
Great. Thank you, Janet.
and I think that's it. Oh, I sent a note to Chris Christensen
Saw that.
for our trust money. He had sent me an email and requested like just an official request. So I sent that to him. It was already approved back in June, so he figured that this week, when he got back in the office, he would write the check. So you should be expecting it. Yep. And I have not forgotten about the Quimby information. I also sent Chris an email about that as well, not specifically for this past year, but years going forward. So.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Janet. Okay, acceptance of minutes. We have
Just the 15th.
the 15th and then the July 16th one. So we have the June 15th minutes from our last meeting. Did anyone have any concerns, corrections?
Yeah, anything. I ended up sending everything twice. I have no idea
Okay.
why. It was one
Better
of those.
safe than sorry.
Yep. I just was concerned that people might not have gotten it.
Mhm.
I'm looking. So this was good.
Okay,
I don't think I saw.
okay, hearing none, I will make a motion that we accept the June 15th public meeting minutes. Mike seconds. All in favor?
Oh.
Sorry. Is there any
Sorry, I
discussion?
was waiting.
Go
I
ahead.
pulled up the wrong one first.
That's okay.
E under Treasurer's Report.
Well,
It has each fiscal year the trustees contribute to the town budget, 8,000 from fines and 4,000. It's this fiscal year,
Okay, not each year.
right?
Oh, this. Ooh, sorry. That's important.
Okay, so then I will amend my motion that we accept the minutes with that change. Okay. Mike, would you still like to second that? Awesome. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor? Great. Thank you, Karen. And then we have the July 16th minutes from our meeting with Jason on Friday that I sent out that had the SWOT analysis information attached to that. So did anyone see anything that needed to be changed? Only the three of us can vote. Karen was not able to join us. So, okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the July 16th minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Great, 3-0. Thank you. Oh gosh. Okay. Okay, great. So the Building Exploratory Committee has not met, but perhaps will be meeting. So on July 16th, we met with Jason from SMP Architects. We did a site walk of the MYA site and we did a SWOT analysis. I think this will be something that we as a board need to discuss further. The overwhelming thought at that meeting was that people were really interested in the MYA site, the possibilities of that site. We did not vote on anything. We did not come to any conclusions, but we talked about next steps perhaps being talking with the library staff about what their thoughts and concerns were if we were to head in that direction. And then once we sort of have a formal idea of what we're doing, going to the other boards of stakeholders, the Development Fund and the Friends. So without having Sohini here, I think that we really can't have any sort of formal discussion. This is, I think, the kind of thing that all 5 trustees need to be really here to talk about. So I hate to table it, but I think that we really can't vote on any definite direction. I still would be open to meeting with the library staff, though, before our next meeting. So perhaps, Yvette, you and I can come up with a time that you think might work, whether it's department heads or all the staff, to just explain to them sort of the process and where we're at and what our thoughts are going forward. So,
Okay, if you could send me your available time.
sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Does anyone have anything to add to that? Okay, great. Friends of the Merrimack Public Library will not be meeting in July. I don't know that there's anything beyond what we've discussed. Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee did not meet. And the Town Center Committee.
Did not meet.
Okay. So Library Board of Trustees, I don't think there's been any committee meetings for our committees either.
Did we confirm that?
I was supposed to check and see. Okay, that's going to be on my July action items. Do we have people on committees? So let's move to July action items. Deb, we'll see if people have chosen their committees from past minutes. I will check that and let you guys know in the next day or so.
Would you repeat what that was?
Did we already decide on who's on different committees?
No, I don't
I
think
thought we did. So I need to go back and look at the minutes. So, okay.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Really? Okay. I will look back at the different ones and see. So, okay.
You're gonna go back to like
so
September.
maybe we did the representatives to the different boards, but we didn't do committees. Okay. Well, so
No.
Heaney's not.
We didn't.
We did the representatives to the boards. Yep, we did, because I was not the friend. I was not.
What
You-
am I on?
You chose not to do one when we went through. We were all volunteering. I ended up doing the Friends, which I was never the Friends person
Did I?
before.
I'm on so many.
Yeah,
different
that's
boards.
okay.
I don't
It's okay. That's, you know what? Well, that's okay. We'll put you and Sohini on all the library trustee committees. So you're fine.
Exactly.
No, I think that we at that particular meeting, I just remember we were going around and Karen was sticking with Town Center. I said I'd do the Development Fund, which I had been doing, and then Janet and I were going to split the Friends. So, I mean, you are more than welcome to attend any and all of them if you want, as long as there's not 3 of us at anything. That's because once we are 3, we are a quorum. So you're certainly welcome to join the next Friends of the Library meeting or whatever, so I can keep you in the loop for that. So I will check on the committees, though, because everybody seems to think we didn't, and I thought we did. So I will check the minutes for that. Other July action items. Yvette is going to keep us posted on the carpet and anything that needs to be done with the moisture tests and the asbestos. Janet is going to be investing money in the fidelity funds that we discussed, the value fund and the balance fund. I'm going to be talking with Ann Warner about moving forward with gathering more information on strategic planning. Is there anything else? Go ahead.
I remember, I don't even know how long ago it was, but something was mentioned about the ban on divisive, whatever it's called, ideas.
That was the HB 544 that we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's
Did we go over that?
Max sent out something. Max, the head of reference, he had sent out that document about the meeting that he was at with the New Hampshire Municipal Association, and it looks like they were still looking for clarification on what the implications would be. So I don't know that. And Eva, I know that you are on some committees that have been discussing that. Is there anything that we need to take action on, or that we need to be apprised of?
No, but if you review the attachment in your packet, it's a phone call that the New Hampshire Municipal Association, NHMA, had been having about it. Because pretty much every organization is starting to look at diversity training, or reevaluating processes or something like that. And with the library, our concern is, can we have a book group about To Kill a Mockingbird? Well,
Yeah.
or a film series. These are the kind of calls that I'm on and the questions I'm getting from my colleagues in other libraries. So the NHMA is great because they have an attorney. And really, if there's a legal challenge in Merrimack, what's the argument? What would we be charged with? Are we breaking the law because it's in the legislature now? So it passed. Would we be breaking a law? I have 2 programs scheduled for later this summer about history, the history of the Underground Railroad in New England and the history of slavery.
That
in
sounds
New
very
England.
divisive. That sounds divisive.
Someone might say so.
Yeah.
Someone might say, that topic makes me feel very threatened. And that's the challenge. That's all you have to say. So it's hard because the library, we're trying to provide information and education, and let's find out about things. And especially during our anniversary year, it's our 275th, we were looking at historical programs or programs about New England history. And this, I came across it, and it was like, oh, that's wild. I didn't know about that. So I want to know. So I did mention this at the town managers, town department heads meetings last week, and said, here's the legislation we're looking at, and nobody really knows what's going to happen until there's a lawsuit, because you really can't prove out, laws until they're tested in a courtroom. And
Max had mentioned, and I think I mentioned earlier that I had started this, the biggest thing that's unclear is what is actually going to be a violation of this law. So I think that conversations like this with the NHMA are really useful. I believe they were the same group I had sat in on there was a conversation about just COVID and funding for things. So they are a really valuable resource, and it's great for him that he's getting this information and passing it along to us. That's really great.
Yeah. Well, I was double booked. So I asked him to be on that call for me, and he took wonderful notes.
Yeah.
But the town of Merrimack pays for a membership in the NHMA. So anytime that we can benefit from something that they're doing, it's membership that's worthwhile. We can make sure the town council knows, wow, we're really finding this valuable. And I think during COVID, I was on all the NHMA calls just about keeping our employees safe, and liability. So it's fantastic. But yeah, this basically I updated the department heads, and Paul said, don't be the first lawsuit.
That's good advice.
I said, okay.
Yeah, I will concur with Paul, please. Another thing about the NHMA, you might remember we had a question about right to know with committees, and I emailed their lawyer, and they got back to me the very next day. So it really is, a great resource.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question, that there is no answer? It's kind of out there in the ether being discussed and debated. So
if it was me, I'd just ignore it, because, suing a library is kind of,
But I think that the problem...
I think the public is going to punish that person.
Well, I think that also
can send you articles about libraries that have been sued for lots of different reasons that don't seem to make sense to me.
I think there were also some concerns that it would be targeted at individuals and not at institutions, which is one of the concerns that is unclear. So I think there's just a lot of things that are unclear about that. So,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I want to bring it to the board's attention because you guys are liable. You know, I might be included in that, but you're the governing board and you enforce our policies, and it's going to be a problem. Let's hope it's not a problem, but we've got to be aware of it. You know?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you.
sure.
Okay. Let's see. Upcoming events. The Friends of the Library will be meeting again on August 23rd at 7 p.m. The Merrimack Public Library
Is
developed.
that in person?
I don't know if that's in person or not. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think they decided.
I don't think they did either.
Okay.
So, okay. The Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee meeting to be announced. We had our meeting with Jason on July 16th, and we will have our Board of Trustees monthly meeting on August 17th, 7 p.m. Okay. Is there any other business before we go into non-public? Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we go into non-public session under RSA 91-A:3:2.
I'll second.
Thank you. For going into non-public, we do need a roll call vote. So, Karen?
Yes.
Okay, I will vote yes. Janet?
Yes.
And Mike?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We are in non-public.